You endorse someone who's been found liable for... Answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for...
Today, I came to party.
George Stephanopoulos of ABC News ran his mouth too many times, told a lie about Trump but used the wrong words. Told the same lie, by the way, that all of media told about him, but he actually used the wrong legal words. So ABC has to pay Trump whole lot of money. We've got the clips for you and the great celebration because Trump is being vindicated. He's been called the big mouth. He's not the big mouth. George Stephanopoulos is the big mouth.
I still get judged for it today.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for...
And that's all it took right there. That's one of them. We had to bleep out the words, of course. It's inappropriate. But here's the actual judgment. This is from Colin Rugg, just in. ABC News forced to pay $15 million to Trump to settle the defamation lawsuit. George Stephanopoulos forced to issue a public apology. Now, I think he should get nailed. Worse than that, he should get fired. But they had to publicly apologize to Trump for telling a lie about him. ABC News, owned by Disney. That's Disney, ABC, all of their news media, the ones that ran the debate. These people caught in a lie. The development stems from a March incident where George Stephanopoulos claimed Trump was found liable of the bad word. Now, ABC News has to pay $15 million as a charitable contribution to a, quote, presidential foundation and museum to be established by or for the plaintiff, as presidents of the United States of America have established in the past. So this is going to go to Trump's presidential library. They also have to cover Trump's $1 million in legal fees. That was just for his ability to go and sue them. Quote, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump made during an interview by George Stephanopoulos with Rep. Nancy Mace on ABC's This Week on March 10, 2024. The apology reads. But he didn't just do it once.
It was not a criminal court. This was a civil court. It was a civil court. And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money, and I find that offensive.
I'm asking you about the man
as a victim who's been shamed for years now because of her. You're trying to shame me again by asking me this political question.
You've repeated that again.
I think it's offensive. As a woman, I find it offensive. For my political choices, I've endorsed the man that I believe is best for our country. It's not Joe Biden. And you looked at the dueling rallies yesterday in Georgia. Laken Riley's family was with Donald Trump. They weren't with Joe Biden. The same guy yesterday that apologized for calling her killer an illegal, who wasn't illegal. And here you are trying to shame a victim. I find it disgusting.
I mean, you keep saying I'm shaming you.
You are. The question, it is.
How is the question asking you about a presidential candidate who's...
You're asking a victim.
And there's no question about that. And you've courageously talked about that.
Because I've been raped. I think that's disgusting.
No, I'm questioning your political choices because you're supporting
shaming me. You're
someone who's been found liable for...
He said it again. That's two. He should have to pay $15 million every time he does it, just like Trump did every time he supposedly discredited E. Jean Carroll. They had another $5–10 million added on to it. So Stephanopoulos, really, he's getting off easy with ABC merely having to pay $15 million. He needs to be fired. I hope he does. We're going to start that campaign, of course. By the way, welcome to the Doug Tenapel channel. This is my channel, and you guys found it. I'm excited you're here. Thanks for watching. Let's watch the slow motion car wreck. This is what it feels like for everyone to go to human resources. George Stephanopoulos actually gets to feel it from the other side. How does it feel having all these questions and accusations against you? Shaming someone, degrading someone, hurting someone with your words. And he's going, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. This is why people laughed at the Me Too movement. Because of people like George Stephanopoulos, who stood by Bill Clinton and shamed all of his victims. How can this guy have a job after 1998? But even worse, after the Me Too movement in the 2012 era, how could he still be working?
Actually, I'm not trying to...
You are. That's exactly what you're doing.
You're not answering the question.
I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for...
I I just answered.
No, actually, I'm not trying to.
You
shame
are. That's exactly.
You're not
what
answering
you're
the
doing.
question.
And I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for?
Your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was sexual abuse. It wasn't actually. By the way, and E. Jean Carroll joked about all the money she's going to get and made a mockery out of this case. And I think that's offensive. There's a reason why women don't come forward. And when you have someone who says that they're and they make a mockery out of this civil court judgment, it's offensive to other women. It makes it harder for other women to come forward when another woman has made a mockery of it.
You said women don't come forward because they are afraid. They are afraid
they're
because
judged
they're defamed
and shamed,
by those
like you're trying to shame me this morning.
They are afraid to come forward, as you said, because they are defamed by those who commit the.
That's number 3 and number 4. We're not going to count that last one because he used it in context. He didn't say, why are you supporting someone who's guilty of that? But number 3 and 4, that should be, $15 million per offense. That should be about $60 million on ABC, because Trump got tried for every felony. Remember, they separated out the charges, so it was 34 counts, even though he did the same count multiple times. This individually, they should have to pay way more. They're lucky Trump is so merciful, he's not exploitive, that he let them off this easy, and they got to make a charitable donation to his presidential library, all because George Stephanopoulos wants to play this game, which is true for me, but not for thee. That is, they get away with all these words. And then when a conservative goes and puts it back on them by their own standards, she's only repeating what all of the leftist feminists have said were the rules all along, that you can't do this in front of a victim. You're shaming them. You're making it harder on them. You're making it harder for victims to come out themselves. George Stephanopoulos and ABC News, owned by the Walt Disney Company, by Disney, makes it harder for victims to come forward, and they broadcast this on TV. They paid a measly $15 million, which is a rounding error for the amount of Post-it notes they buy in 1 quarter, and they do a measly apology. It's nothing. This is nothing. They should be burned into the ground. They should have to pay for the entire presidential library.
That's what Donald Trump has been found guilty of doing.
He defended himself over that and denies that it ever happened, but he was not found guilty in a criminal court of law.
Oh, look, I won again. All of the things where they tried putting this stuff up against Trump is backfiring on them. This time it cost them money. I think this sets a precedent now, and given, I believe, The View might have done it. I believe a lot of other news people might have said this same thing. They just need to go and do a Google search for it, find them, and now they've set a precedent. You will pay $15 million to the Trump library, and we support. I don't like the political correct rules on the words and stuff like that, but to me, if we have to follow those rules, then they need to pay up and at least follow their own rules. They started this, Trump didn't do it. He's been exonerated for the slander, libel, whatever you call it, what they've done against him and his campaign right before his election. They ran that E. Jean Carroll lawsuit right before his election. Remember, that Hoffman was the main donor who's on the you-know-what list, who said he's so afraid after Trump won that he wants to leave the country. He's the one that got them to change the statute of limitations on the R-word type cases in New York, changing the law. And the only case out of all of those kinds of cases that could have been brought out in New York, only one was brought back up when the statute of limitations was lifted, and that is the E. Jean Carroll case. It was designed for a fake lawsuit against Trump, exactly because of what Stephanopoulos did. They were going to run this thing all the way to the election, and now it cost them. Trump keeps winning. I'm Doug in exile.